Dun Shows World.
Welcome to Shows World Gamers, Josh here, and as this week draws to a close, I wanted to take a moment to look at this week's new game releases, gaming announcements, and a few news stories. If this is your first time on the channel, hit that subscribe button to join in on the fun. Alright gamers, as always, we'll start off with this week's new game releases. Now, Dragon Quest Treasures was released this week on the Nintendo Switch. I am a huge fan of the Dragon Quest series. The first Dragon Warrior game on the NES was my first RPG, and Dragon Quest XI is one of my favorite games of all time. This spin-off, more chibi kind of style looking game looks promising, and I will be checking this out when I get a chance. Next up, Hello Neighbor 2 was released this week on the PC, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, as well as Xbox Series S and X, and it was a day one release on Game Pass. I have never played the first game, but have heard this family-friendly horror style game is pretty fun, so I decided to give it a shot here on the channel. I will put the link at the end of this video so you guys can check out my thoughts on that game there. Chained Echoes is a story-driven JRPG that released this week on PC, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4 and 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series S and X, as well as it had a day one release on Game Pass. I checked this game out here on the channel, and we'll have a video with some gameplay and my initial thoughts on the game up on the channel over the weekend, so definitely check that out. Next up, Bot Gaiden is a fast action, vibrant looking, side scrolling, Mega Man inspired indie game that I'm looking forward to playing. This game is out now on PC, PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, and Xbox systems. I don't know when Capcom is going to give us a new Mega Man game, but at least indie developers are giving us awesome looking titles like this. Lastly, The Rumblefish 2 is a 2D fighting game that originally released back in the arcades in 2005, and it became a cult classic. This game was a huge hit in Japan and considered a hidden gem in the fighting game genre. The game is finally available at home on the PC, PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, as well as Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, and Nintendo Switch. I've never actually played this game, and I'm looking forward to getting my hands on it when I get a chance. Next up, let's take a look at some gaming announcements. Now, there was a ton of new announcements this week coming from the Game Awards, but let's just look at a few of them that caught my eye. The show started with a huge announcement as Supergiant Games gave us our first look at Hades 2, the sequel to my favorite roguelike game to date. If you're not familiar with the first game, I highly suggest playing it. The first game was a timed exclusive for the Switch, but it's now available on just about every system that you can imagine. No word on what consoles Hades 2 will be available on just yet, so stay tuned for that. Next up, Bayonetta Origins, Cereza, and the Lost Demon was announced for the Switch. I'm not exactly sure that's how the title's supposed to be, but that's what we're going to go with for now. It will release on March 17th of next year, and you play as a young Bayonetta. You play through an almost watercolor style looking action-adventure RPG looking game, so this is going to be a little bit different in the gameplay department from the regular Bayonetta games. We also got our first look at the sequel to Death Stranding. We didn't see any gameplay, but the CGI trailer looked really impressive, and of course, being a Kojima production, it was extremely weird. Kojima did come on stage after the trailer to unveil that there is some hidden secrets hidden in the trailer. I'm sure people are going to be digging into that trailer and finding all kinds of cool stuff. Then, the Game Awards were crashed by none other than Crash Bandicoot. He unveiled a trailer for a brand new Team Battle Crash game called Crash Team Rumble. The game has a 2023 release date and will be coming to PlayStation 4 and 5, as well as Xbox One and Xbox Series S and X. No word on a PC or Nintendo Switch version just yet. Now, Bandai Namco also gave us our first look at From Software's upcoming mech game, Armored Core 6: Fires of Rubicon. If you're not familiar with this franchise, this is the premier mech action game franchise, and I can't wait for this game to release next year. The game is coming to PlayStation, PC, and Xbox systems, and I definitely am going to be keeping my eyes on this. Now, lastly, DNF Duel also got an announcement as the very popular fighting game will be coming to the Nintendo Switch in spring of 2023. I really hope they can get this game running well on the system because this is a fantastic fighting game. It was actually my pick for Fighting Game of the Year, but lost out to Multiverses in the Game Awards. All right, gamers, let's finish up with a few news stories from this week in gaming. And we will start with the Game Awards. I know this event takes a lot of flack, but personally, I think it's fun. It is weird that half the awards are given in the pre show, and they have some out of place performances, but I still enjoy the overall show. We got updated looks at a ton of upcoming games like Street Fighter 6, Jedi Survivor, Tekken 8's first look at gameplay, an amazing CGI trailer for Diablo 4. We got to look at Final Fantasy 16, among others. But at the end of the night, Elden Ring became this year's Game of the Year. Now, in a really cool video done by Do You Know Gaming, in their series of canceled games, this time with Metroid, they gave info about a Retro Studios Metro title that was a tactics based RPG in the style of games like XCOM. I definitely suggest checking the video out at Do You Know Gaming. That game looks like it would have been so cool had it actually seen the light of day. Now, in some disappointing but not unexpected news, Microsoft has unveiled that starting in 2023, they will be following PlayStation and a few other publishers as they will be raising the price of their big flagship titles from the $59.99 price they are now to $69.99. These titles will still be Game Pass Day 1 releases, and as of this time, there has been no info on any price change for Game Pass, but I think it's inevitable at some point it is going to go up. Also, Nintendo Switch gamers got some unexpected, fantastic news this week. In the wake of the ongoing battle Sony has waged against the Microsoft acquisition of Activision Blizzard, head of Xbox division at Microsoft, Phil Spencer, shared news on Twitter that Microsoft has officially entered into a 10-year contract to bring Call of Duty to Nintendo consoles once the acquisition is complete. Now, lastly, in some absolutely just awesome news, Nintendo surprised us with the newest update for Mario Kart 8. With the newest batch of 8 new courses being added to the game, we also got a new feature that allows you to customize power ups in the races. That means we can finally remove that dreaded, super annoying blue turtle shell, and I couldn't be happier. All right, gamers, that concludes this week in review for the week ending on 12/9. The week started with the Callisto Protocol getting a pretty wide range of reviews from people hating the game and others absolutely loving it. Then rumors began swirling about a possible return of Metal Gear with multiple projects, and the week ended with God of War Ragnarok having a huge night at the Game Awards, taking home many awards, but in the end, Elden Ring was announced as this year's Game of the Year at the Video Game Awards. But let me know anything we may have missed in the comments, and thanks for joining us today, gamers. Shows World, out.